Hey there, thanks for tuning into Duckbricks. I'm Chris, and today we have an early look at the brand new Separatist MTT from LEGO Star Wars. It's a set that I personally have been wanting for years for LEGO to make. But here's the kicker. It's $160 for less than 1,000 pieces. Is the set worth it, or is it way too overpriced? Honestly, it's a bit of both, but without saying too much more, let's jump into my early review right now. This is set number 75435, Battle of Felucia Separatist MTT. It retails for $160 US, comes with 976 pieces, as well as a ton of minifigures, a ton of battle droids, 6 to be specific, 3 new commando droids in gunmetal gray, Ayla Secura making her first appearance since 2016, and Commander Bly for the first time in minifigure form, which I'm very happy with. This is sort of meant to depict the obviously Battle of Felucia, but also scenes in the Clone Wars TV show where the Separatist MTT prominently featured, and I am very happy with its inclusion. You see, I've been wanting a Separatist MTT for years. Ever since seeing it feature in the Clone Wars, I really wanted to get it in the dark blue and light gray color scheme, but LEGO kept on releasing the more iconic Trade Federation one in brown. I actually think this is a much cooler color scheme, so I'm very happy LEGO finally decided to do this. However, we do have to address the elephant in the room first, and that is the price. $160 for 976 pieces on paper is pretty bad. And while I will say price per piece ratio is not everything, it's a 16.4 ratio if you're curious, I definitely feel like it has negatively affected this set a lot. I went into the set really excited, I really like it, and it has a killer function. But a lot of that is taken away by the fact that this is remarkably overpriced, at least in my opinion. It's not quite as bad or as overpriced as the Clone Turbo Tank, but again, it's not really saying much when I feel like that set should have been $80 instead of $160, and I actually feel like this set probably should have been $90 or at least $100 instead of $160. But I'll save my full thoughts on price till the end of the review. Again, I do want to showcase everything this set has to offer first. I just wanted to get it out of the way as we jump in here. Now that was a quick look at the function, and don't worry, I'm going to be showing that a ton more times throughout this review. One, because I do want to have you see it from all different angles, but two, because it is genuinely very satisfying to actuate. This is the most function-rich MTT that we have ever gotten from LEGO, and it's no big surprise because this was designed by LEGO Master Boone, who recently joined the LEGO group and has been putting out some amazing sets, and it's very clear he was able to really improve the functionality of this model far and above beyond any other MTT we have seen from LEGO ever before. The last MTT that we got was back in 2014. It's been over 10 years since the last one, and the one before that was 2007, so a lot has changed, and it's really clear that they were able to have such a robust function because of some new pieces and new elements introduced in the time between then. One of my favorite aspects about the droid deploying function here is the fact that it kind of lowers itself to the ground right upon going out of the build, which is actually very screen accurate. If you watch the appearance in the movies and the shows, it kind of protrudes out from the MTT and then lowers down on a rack. Obviously, there's a lot more racks from there, there's a ton more battle droids coming out of it, but for a very simple play feature for a smaller build, this works so well, and I am very happy with the functionality to even have the droids kind of deploy outwards as they lower themselves to the ground. Unfortunately, because of gravity and the way that it hits the ground, sometimes you can knock battle droids off if you're not too careful, or if you're kind of lowering it to the ground too quickly, but if you have a controlled motion, it is just really satisfying to see them deploy like this. And there you have it. It doesn't always press them down to the ground, because sometimes things get caught, but 9 times out of 10, it works really well, and it is really impressive how it also closes up the bottom and top hatches automatically when you actually have it be fully closed. This to me is the ultimate MTT function, and I can honestly forgive a lot of my issues with the price and the value of the set because the function is genuinely so good. I want to see LEGO do more clever stuff like this in other sets. This is the kind of set to me that lives or dies by the functionality, and it absolutely lives by that. It is really well done. But enough about the function. What about the rest of the set? Well, taking a look at the set from all different angles, I'm pretty happy with all the way that it has been armored up. There are really nice pieces being used, different wedge elements and slope pieces being utilized all around the model to actually give it a really nice color scheme that feels very clean and slick. Maybe it's just because we've never gotten a Separatist MTT before, but to me this feels so much cooler than the standard plain brown that we're used to getting for the regular MTTs. I think a lot of it is also due to the fact that the color scheme has different layers to it. The light gray has armor layers with the dark blue, and altogether it makes it feel very playable. What I'm not a big fan of though is the usage of red on the inside. I don't really understand why the red is there. I guess for the building experience, I know why LEGO does this, to make it easier for younger builders and new builders to identify colors, but red is a very, very bright color to use, and I feel like maybe any other color would have been fine. At least make it like bright blue or something like that to make it fit in with the rest of the model, but unfortunately, because it's red, at some angles you can kinda see it poking through, so I'm not the biggest fan of that. The interior of the model is basically taken up almost 100% by the function. Unlike some previous MTTs which had like speeders deploying from the back or storage areas or little droid areas to kind of add in other characters, basically the function has to work the way it does by eating up the entire interior. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think it is a necessary evil for its function as cool as this, but it is unfortunate that this set is so large and basically the entire interior is dedicated just to that one function that pretty much just is on the front of the build. If they had some extra pieces for the budget, I probably could have seen them putting some sort of archway above this function and allowing you to have maybe some sort of a build above it, but alas, they did not. Oh, but wait, they did, because it was $160, so they absolutely had extra budget. So again, I don't know, I'm being a little sarcastic there, but I really feel like maybe the interior could have been fleshed out a little more, but it is hard to complain when that function is really good. At least there is weapon storage on the inside, and it is maybe one of the most lackluster weapon storages we've gotten, with them literally just sticking directly into the Technic beam. But hey, if you're on limited parts budget and designing a set like this and putting all your parts in the function, I get it. Moving onwards, there is at least a little bit of an upper section over here featuring a pilot battle droid, which is nice to get. I think we need more pilot battle droids in sets, especially like these, and he does have his little area in there with a nice spot to store the blaster as well, which I actually do really appreciate. On the inside, you can also see some sort of a Separatist war map sticker being used on the inside there, so I think that is a nice touch, but altogether, basically, this model is the function. It lives and dies by the function, and I think that function is great. And so, stepping back a little bit, I do want to talk a bit about value here, because this wave in particular is kind of infamous for being ridiculously overpriced. Somehow, this is 976 pieces at $160, and it's still not the most overpriced set of the wave, and that is saying a lot, unfortunately. I'm gonna save my final thoughts to the end of the video, but now let's take a quick look at the minifigs, starting off with Aayla Secura. Aayla Secura has been featured in minifigure form a few times now, but this is the latest one, and I actually like a lot of the details here, except for maybe the face. I don't know, the face just doesn't feel quite right to me. It's kind of hard to put my finger on why it doesn't look right, but there's just something about it that doesn't quite resemble the actress playing the character. I think the angry face is a lot better, especially where you can kind of see the gap in the teeth, which really just adds a bit more character to the minifigure here, but the standard smiling expression just doesn't look quite right to me when depicting the character. Again, hard to put my finger on why, but it is what it is. The Twi'lek hairpiece though is very nice. I really like seeing the Leku being fully detailed with the bands going all around the kind of cross-stitching areas of the Leku themselves, so I think it's good. The torso is pretty decent as well. Don't really have anything that positive or negative to say about the torso compared to the previous versions. It just kind of looks right, but the face just isn't 100% there. However, Commander Bly, on the other hand, is very, very good in my opinion. I am a big fan of this character, and the figure itself is done remarkably well. LEGO introduced a brand new pauldron element for these figures this wave, and that's one that we saw for the review of the battle pack as well, but I'm a big fan of them using it. It's really cool to get a specially molded pauldron element, and it even looks better than the cloth ones did, and that's really surprising to me. He also has an exclusive torso compared to the ones featured in the battle battle pack, so this minifigure is 100% all new, and that's because the belt is actually colored yellow. So the scuff marks on the back are a little different, otherwise the torsos are identical pretty much, but the belt is yellow and the scuff marks are a little bit different, which really just set them apart from all of the other clones, and I like the extra effort LEGO put in to really make him be 100% accurate. I'm sure a lot of people would have been complaining if he wasn't, and utilizing the rangefinder element is a really nice touch. Moving on from that, it's interesting to get commando droids in the gunmetal gray color. Maybe just mentally, I always think of commando droids in the dark brown color because of the LEGO ones, but when I actually think about them, and I'm actually looking at Wikipedia right now and taking a look at the commando droids, they actually did come in different colors. So I think gunmetal gray is alright, and it is nice to get a pilot droid as well being featured here because this one is just absolutely needed for an MTT. Minifig selection wise, I think it would have been cool to get a security droid. It's been years since we've gotten a security one, and that one feels like it would have been a good fit for this set, or maybe even a tactical droid. It would be cool to see them bring that back, but as far as it goes, minifigure selection is alright. It does come with a STAP as well, a single trooper aerial platform, and it is interesting to me that LEGO has like 4 different builds of the STAP on market right now. Like, we've got this one, we've got the Rebuild the Galaxy one, we got one for the Battle Droid with STAP buildable figure just like in the July wave. So it is kind of funny how LEGO is just so many different versions of this just in this one year, but I think this one is just okay. Nothing really strong I have to say about it one way or the other. Altogether, this is a frustrating set for me because it genuinely is one of my favorites of the wave when it comes to the functionality. I think the functionality of this set is better than really any of the MTTs we have ever gotten before. But it is absolutely bogged down by the price, and I really feel like 160 is too much for this. I get it, a lot of those pieces go into the function, it's also cool to get the new minifigures and everything, but for 976 pieces, I feel like this should have not been more than $100. If it was $110, I would begrudgingly accept it, very begrudgingly so. But 160 just makes it very, very hard to recommend the set to really anybody without getting it on some sort of a discount. Doesn't need to be a 50% off discount like I was saying for the Clone Turbo Tank, but some discount for sure, absolutely needed for a set like this, and we'll have to see if it ever will go on sale. That's all for this review. Hope you enjoyed our look at the Separatist MTT, and of course, stay tuned for even more LEGO news, reviews, discussion, and analyses coming your way very soon. Bye for now.